Okay guys, backyard scrapping here, and we are going to do our final recovery video for now. We'll probably do more in the future, but what I want to show you here is basically what I got going on is just a little $1 dollar store tub with a back screen. This actually came off an LCD from a laptop, and then this is just out of an old picture frame. It's a piece of glass. I would have preferred it to be plastic, but you use what you got, and that's the whole purpose of doing this kind of stuff, is using what you have and not spending money. Now, this method is probably the easiest. It is probably the cleanest. It's relatively fast. I mean, it's not going to be lightning fast, but what we're going to do is I'm actually going to use a motor tool or a little Dremel type tool. You can actually just do this by hand with sandpaper. That's another thing. This is very cost effective. Yeah, it's going to take some time like everything else, but I mean, if you want a method that's really, especially if you've got one of these gadgets already, if you have a Dremel, I mean, then you pretty much got it made. Now what I've selected to do was a couple of these are actually salad forks, and I'm going to go through this process. If it gets too long, I will actually time lapse it, but I'm going to do a couple salad forks here, and I'm going to show you. I actually have, I'm not using carbide, I'm using diamond. I actually have 3 diamond bits here. I've got a fine little one, a little bit bigger one, and then a little bit bigger one. And the reason I'm using diamond, which are also relatively inexpensive, I mean, just don't buy dental tools or jeweler's tools. Just put, search for bits, but don't put those descriptions in dental or jewelers. If you put dental or jewelers, you're going to be paying 5 times the money for the same tool. But anyway, this method, what you need is basically a tub like this to catch your stuff, and you just sand it off. And the reason I like this is because I got these little diamond tools so I can get in between this. You got your backsplash in the back, you got a place to work with your hands, and that is all there is to it. You got your little tub to catch your filings, and you just sand this down till it starts looking yellow or brassy. When you get down to the brass, you know you're at the end, so stop. You're going to have brass mixed in with it or whatever metal is underneath your plate, but this method is pretty much foolproof and simple. I'm using this little tiny bit and getting in between the tines of the fork, so I don't have to, or you can cut them off if you have to and do them however. But this method is pretty tried and true. You're in essence just taking that layer of silver. You're catching it all down here in the base. When you first start, it's not going to look like you have much, but if you keep using the same container, before you know it, the bottom will be covered. Okay, so that's the hard part of the fork. So now I'm going to change bits. Go over to my bigger one. And we're just going to proceed to grind this silver right off of this thing. And really, it's probably best to keep things on a down angle. I need to move that bit out a little further, but as you can see, we're just grinding that silver right off of that thing. I moved my bit out a little further so I can keep this down in here. And forks are kind of a pain because of the tines. And now I'm going to also show you, you're not limited to just the diamond tools. If you have little sanding drums or silicon carbide wheels, here's a little silicon carbide wheel. Here's a little coarse sanding drum. So we can put that on. I mean, it's whatever you want to use. It doesn't make any difference. So we'll put our sanding drum on. Same thing. That's probably even going to be a little faster. Now the sanding drum is going to make it hotter, and like I said, I actually like using the diamond, but you can use that, you can use this, you know, whatever you've got. There's no rules, there's no, you know, regulations, specific ways, specific tools. You could even, like I said, just do it by hand. And I would be doing this in a more comfortable position too, but I mean, I'm doing it for the camera. You can move it closer to you, further away, you know, whatever's comfortable for you. Now this is what I want to show you here. I would probably do this a little bit more, just to be sure you're not going to hurt anything by doing that. You're going to want a good stiff brush to brush this off. Make sure. Now we've done just the back side of this fork and in between the tines. We haven't done this side yet. But what I want to do real quick is show you what we've got. And this is another reason you're going to want a brush to clean, sweep your glass down. And very quickly, I'm going to just put this now. Granted, this is not, again, pure silver. This is just a recovery process. But what you would do is just do this And then when you got a little jar full of it, or a few ounces of it, or 10 ounces of it, or whatever you want to decide that you want is enough to send, then you send it. Now, this is what I want to show you. Look at what's in that little corner already, just off the back side of that fork. And I did it fairly quickly. I didn't actually, you know, really do a good job because, like I said, I'm doing it for the camera. But, I mean, that's about as easy as it gets. And that's got to be at least, you know, in worst case scenario, I would say it's 50-50 silver and brass or nickel or whatever's underneath your plating, whatever. But still, and it took me longer because I'm, you know, like I said, I'm playing to the camera. But that's what we got out of that half. So this is actually going to wrap it up. Like I said, this one's not going to be that long. Just make sure that you have something that's going to allow you to trap the silver. That's the main thing in some type of a sanding or grinding method. I mean, you can see there's, every time I sweep it up, there's a little bit more. There's a little bit more. So, alrighty guys, this is going to wrap it up for our recovery processes, and simple recovery processes that don't cost anything. I've got a couple refines to do, so we will actually get back at you with another video shortly. Have a good one, guys. I hope you picked up some tips on some ways to recover stuff that's not going to take you any kind of chemicals or anything dangerous or anything like that. So save your stuff up, guys, and send it on. Get it refined. Do a little work and get a little bit of precious metal. There it is, from half a fork. Alrighty, guys, have a good one. It's Backyard Scrapping signing off.